Hey, it's Denise. Welcome to my channel if you've never been here before, and welcome back to my friends who have watched my previous videos. Today I'm going to talk about something that I haven't really talked a whole lot about recently, and that is weight. Not weight for that, but weight as in how much I weigh. If you have watched my previous videos, you've probably heard me mention that I had weight loss surgery a year and a half ago, a little over a year and a half ago, and I lost over 100 pounds from my heaviest weight. I'm trying to get my head so that it's blocking that glare so that you don't have to look at it, because I know it's annoying. Okay. Now, if you're someone who, I had a vertical sleeve gastrectomy, sometimes just called the sleeve surgery or VSG. And essentially it leaves you with a stomach that's about a little bigger than an egg. Your stomach holds 3 or 4 ounces. Before you even have the surgery, if you're going to a reputable surgeon, which I highly recommend that you do, you would be learning to cut carbs out of your diet and I was skeptical when I first heard this, that carbohydrate addiction was, right up there with any substance abuse addiction that you might think of. And yet when I had to suddenly, and this is coming from someone who lived on carbs and dairy. I mean, left to my own devices, I would pretty much live on carbs and dairy. So, for years, and I worked in the substance abuse field as a nurse. I spent 10 years, almost 11, working on a detox and rehab unit. So I am very, very familiar with addiction. Primarily heroin, alcohol. Those are the ones that need a medical detox. Barbiturates, not as commonly used, or I should say not as commonly abused as they used to be. But then the whole 28-day rehab thing, which also could be for people who didn't need a medical detox, like say for cocaine or marijuana, but they need to break that cycle of psychological dependence to be able to have any chance really of abstaining. And I know there are going to be people who are like, no, you can use recreationally. And yes, some people can. Take alcohol, for example, simply because it's legal and readily available. Most people can recreationally have alcohol. I personally am just not a fan of how it makes me feel, and I really don't like the taste. But if if something really yummy was offered, like, a peach margarita, I'm not going to turn that down if I'm at a good Mexican restaurant and it's an occasion and I'm out with family or friends. Not that I've been doing that in 2020, but in the past, I would have a drink, and I wouldn't then have a craving like, oh, I want more of that, I want more of that, I want more of that. So if you don't have that genetic tendency, or what some people call that addictive personality, then absolutely, you can go your whole life of sometimes you have an alcoholic beverage and sometimes you don't. And I know myself personally, I can go, I can realize it's been 6, 7, 8 months since the last time I drank anything with alcohol in it, just because, like I said, I'm not going to drink to get drunk because I don't care for that effect. And most alcohol, I don't really like. I don't like that whole warm, burning your mouth and throat feeling. So most alcohol has that, at least if there's any, high percentage of alcohol in it. So while I spent many years helping people treat and learn to, because you don't cure addiction, you treat it. And I loved being a nurse. I've talked a little bit in videos where I discuss my disability, which, if you're not familiar, my disability is the result of spinal cord damage in my neck, which affects my balance, strength, causes a lot of pain in my back and arms and legs, hands and feet. I mean, yeah, that was a career ender. And, but I really loved my job. I mean, there are people even who work within the substance abuse field who do not enjoy it. You would think they were working in a prison instead of a hospital or a treatment center because they use derogatory terms towards the patients. You know, they, like, to me, if you don't believe that that this is treatable, that we can help people get better, then you don't have the attitude that you belong working somewhere helping people. I mean, why? You know, why would you want to spend your time doing something that you felt was pointless and useless, first of all, from a selfish perspective? Why would you want to do it? And then from, hopefully I, as a nurse, know that it was like hardcore pressed into me in nursing school from day one that you are there not just to take care of your patients physically, but you're there to take care of them emotionally, spiritually, if they need help. You're there to advocate for them if they can't speak up for themselves. Like, you're there to teach them if they have a knowledge deficit in regard to their condition or to how to best take care of themselves, or to help educate their family if, say, it's a caregiver who's needing help. Like, nursing isn't just the hands-on stuff you do. It's helping the whole person and, in a case where it's appropriate, helping the whole family, or at least the members of the family who are going to be impacted by or expected to help with the person's condition. So, having given that longer than I meant to introduction, my point really is I have no question that addiction is real. It's not a flaw of character. It's not a weakness of will. It's not that the person just doesn't want to stop. It's a real illness, and it requires treatment and support. But if you said to me, oh, can people be addicted to carbohydrates? I always kind of felt like, well, you have to eat carbohydrates to live, so that would be like saying, can you be allergic to water? I mean, how can you, not allergic, addicted to water? Now, I know there are psychiatric conditions where people drink way too much water, and I'm talking like gallons a day, and it flushes the electrolytes out of their system, and it can kill them. So, not talking about someone with a specific psychiatric illness, in general, most of us are not addicted to water. Some of us may have a stronger thirst drive than others. I've always had a very low thirst drive. In fact, I would kind of run borderline dehydrated because I just don't have that natural impulse to drink a lot. But again, it was like, well, it's something you need to live, so how could you be addicted? Because, it's not like you can say, oh, I'm going to 100% cut it out of my diet. You would die pretty quickly if you cut fluids out of your diet. And carbohydrates, now, are there people who do super low carbohydrate diets? Yes, but are there still some carbs getting in there? Yes. But I did learn prior to my surgery when I had to cut out the carbs, because they need to see that for people who think that weight loss surgery is the easy way out, clearly you've never been through the process, because it's not easy. And please don't ever say that to someone who's had weight loss surgery. On some of the Facebook groups and stuff that I belong to, I have seen people positively devastated, like in tears, devastated, because someone whose opinion matters to them, their spouse, their mother, their best friend, someone made a comment about, well, you took the easy way out. After this person has had to make a commitment to a lifelong dietary change. You can't just change your mind and decide, well, yeah, I just want to go back to being able to eat a normal meal like everybody else. Because you can't. If you try to eat that extra few bites, you're going to throw up. You're going to be in a lot of pain for a while, and then you're going to throw up. So it is a lifelong commitment to change. And the people who are yo-yo dieting obviously can't make that commitment. So for them to say that you took the easy way out, first of all, it's wrong. And secondly, why would you hurt someone who's worked so hard, made that commitment, gone through all of the work that it takes even to get approved for the surgery? Then, all the medical clearances, like you jump through hoops to get this surgery. And while you're busy jumping through those hoops, you're also, if you're going to a reputable doctor, I would not go to one of those clinics where people are like, oh, I flew to some other country. I got there, in the morning, and the next morning they did my surgery, and 2 days later I went home. To me, and this comes both as someone who had weight loss surgery and as someone who was a nurse for a long time, that just is not a good idea. It may save you money, but your health and your well-being is worth more than the money you saved on that. So a good weight loss surgeon is going to want to see that you really can make those changes, because if you have the surgery and then you go back to trying to binge eat or eat large portions constantly, you're going to be throwing up all the time. You risk rupturing the suture line, which could be fatal. So that would make you a very bad candidate for surgery, and you shouldn't have surgery if you can't get your eating habits under control. And that's where the carb addiction comes in. So when I first went to my weight loss surgeon, and you don't just meet with the surgeon, you meet with a whole team. You have a nutritionist, a nurse practitioner, a person who helps you deal with any sort of insurance issues that are coming up, or any paperwork that needs to be done. My particular surgeon's office, they had support group meetings twice a week. So you've got a whole team of people that you can call if you have a question or problem or whatever. And they give you tons of education, both in person, sitting there at their desk at weekly meetings in the beginning, and also lots of written material they give you. So right from day one, after your first visit, it's okay, here's the diet, and you need to show us that you can do this. And it was goodbye bagels, goodbye pizza, goodbye pasta, rice, bread, all the carbohydrates, potatoes, gone. And it became eating protein, I think I had to eat, I'm trying to remember, during that time, my goal was like around 70 or 80 grams of protein a day, in a very low calorie and extremely carbohydrate restricted manner. And at first I was like, this is going to suck. Life is going to be miserable. I still had my eye on the prize. I was almost 51 years old, and I knew that if I didn't get a handle on my weight now, I never was going to. I'd been battling it since my late teens, really. And, I wanted the rest of my life to be healthy and long. And I already had one strike against me with a spinal cord injury, affecting my ability to walk, right? I kind of walk like a drunk. My balance is off, and I'll lose my balance frequently when I'm walking if I don't have something to lean on, like a handrail or, a person next to me who I can kind of have my arm on them, which is part of why I'm getting a dog who I'm going to be training to be my mobility service dog. Check out that playlist. She isn't here yet, but she's due to be born in a couple weeks, and then at 9 weeks she'll come home. I've got a whole playlist on that. You can watch me obsessively get ready for my new puppy. But yes, I do have issues with my walking, and with if I need to bend down, I can have problems getting back up. If I need to squat down, I can have trouble getting back up. And that's 100 pounds lighter, so it's not like it was the weight stopping me from being able to get back up. Because part of me was thinking, maybe it's, if you lose the weight, maybe it'll be easier. It didn't have that effect. That definitely is the spinal cord damage. Now, losing the weight got me off cardiac medication. I had been on medicine for a high heart rate for years. I don't take that anymore. I haven't taken that for a long time. I don't take anything for high blood pressure anymore. My blood pressure is like on the lower end of normal. It is wonderful. Same with my pulse. It is perfectly normal. And just being able to buy your clothes anywhere, not having to find a large size or plus size store, or be limited to the plus size section, which might be really small and have nothing fashionable or that you want to wear. That kind of, it felt so good the first time I went shopping for clothes and I wasn't limited to being in the plus size section. And that might sound like really shallow, but when you've your whole life kind of had to act like you're not embarrassed to be shopping in that section because you don't want people to know how much it bothers you, but it is bothering you. It just feels so good the first time that you can just walk in and be like, nope, I don't need to shop in the plus size section anymore. And, like I said, it's a lifelong commitment. Now, as you can see with the pile of crap that I have beside me, what I want to talk about is when you find that you've let yourself slip into some bad habits. Now, one of the good habits I have kept, and, I derailed myself. During those first couple weeks, after 2 weeks of not eating the potatoes and rice and pasta and, high protein, practically no carbs, I was amazed. I stopped craving those foods. And I was like, this carbohydrate addiction thing, it's real. And that's coming from someone who really was very skeptical about the whole concept. When you eat carbs, especially when you eat them without protein, say like what I've been letting myself do a little too much. Now, I had to start doing some of it because I was losing too much weight. I ended up maintaining almost 20 pounds below what I had set as my maintenance goal. There were reasons for that. As I was reaching my maintenance goal, my father had a stroke and passed away. And, he didn't pass away the day he had the stroke. He had the stroke right before, about a week before Thanksgiving of 2019. And for a little bit, about a week or so, they had hoped he was starting to get better. And it became apparent then that he wasn't. He kind of had a turn for the worse. And so he came home. Because in my family, people don't die in a hospital or a nursing home. They come home. And so he came home, and me and my son, my younger son, went down to stay with my mom. And my older son already is staying there. He's in his 20s. And he was already kind of helping my parents, who were in their late 70s. So we spent the holiday season taking care of my dad as he died. He passed away on January 1st of 2020. And he literally took his last breath with my mom holding his left hand and me holding his right. We were sitting next to him. We knew the time was very, very close. And we were there with him. So you might understand, under that kind of emotional stress, why worrying if I was getting enough calories was not exactly at the front of my mind. So I ended up, instead of maintaining at 160 where I thought I was going to, I ended up down at about 150. And then kind of the depression and the sadness and all, I ended up down at 140. And I decided to myself, like, stop. Now you're letting yourself start to look like a skeleton. And you might be saying, like, hey, 140 is not, for someone who's 5'7", 140 isn't that skinny. But for someone who has a very large frame, like I've got very broad shoulders, I have, and also a wide rib cage. So, like, my ribs are sticking out. I don't think my skeleton would wear smaller than a size 14 shirt. It's just the way I'm built. My frame, my skeleton. I'm a bigger person. So, just having your ribs sticking out more and more, that's not the look I'm going for. I want to look healthy. I don't want to look like someone who has starved themselves. So I was like, okay, get a grip. And I had to really work at that maintenance phase of figuring out, how do I get enough calories in? It's like, okay, I've become a master of losing weight, but how do I now become a master of maintaining my weight? A big part of that for me has always been weighing myself every day. Or every once in a while I might forget, and I realize a little later in the day that I didn't. So I might skip a day here and there. But as a general rule, I pretty much weigh myself every day. And I know from years and years of yo-yo dieting, if I feel like, oh, I don't think I want to weigh myself today, that means I need to weigh myself. Because when I start feeling that way, it's usually because I'm gaining weight. So where I've decided my maintenance is between 140 and 145. So I have that 5-pound window to make up for things like, okay, yeah, you ate something salty yesterday. Today you might wake up a pound heavier. I am somebody who retains a lot of fluid when they eat salt. And when I'm living on my weight loss diet of basically yogurt and protein shakes and some fruit, there isn't really much room for salt in there. So if I go ahead and then eat something salty, I am going to be a little heavier the next day. And that weight will come off if I go back to not eating salty for a couple days, like 2 days, it'll kind of come off. But the problem was, I was still not getting enough calories initially, and I was still losing weight. I'd gotten down to like 138, I think was the lowest. And I asked a friend of mine who had weight loss surgery and had the same problem, and she's like, Denise, you're not going to like the answer, but the way I did it, honestly, was a Hershey bar and, a can of regular Coke, not diet. Well, me personally, I don't know about you, I can't do the carbonation thing. And while a can of Coke would be like heaven, because I loved regular Coke, I drank Diet Coke because I couldn't, battled my weight more than half my life, most of my life. And, but a real can of Coke was something I used to consider like an indulgence that I would let myself have once in a while. But she was like, yeah, Hershey bars and a can of Coke, that's how I'm getting enough that's how I got enough calories in to stop losing weight until I got a handle on it. So it was like, okay, so I started okay, I can eat some of this non-healthy, well, this I shouldn't really be putting it with the non-healthy. I mean, does it have carbs? Yes. But is it generally healthy as long as you're eating it in the portions you're supposed to? Yes. And by the way, I am totally addicted. Oh my God. This one is like crack. The chocolate sea salt from Purely Elizabeth, it's so good. I eat it by itself. I eat it in my yogurt. I love it. This is the first time I tried. This is my first bag of the vanilla almond butter. The grain-free ones, I noticed this is not grain-free. It's probiotic, but it's not grain-free. I had this one, and then I also had another grain-free that was coconut and cashew. Both the grain-free ones, to me, taste like sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds. And sure enough, when I read the ingredients, like they were 2 out of the 3 first ingredients. So they're grain-free ones. If you don't like the taste of pumpkin or sunflower seeds, you probably wouldn't like them. But otherwise, if you do, which I do, really good. So I started off with adding things like this, which it's, okay, it's, you know, it's carbier than I was eating during my active losing phase. And then I was even like, hey, I can have, you know, as long as I'm following and just having a serving of, I can have these. But I was trying to be careful and have it with some sort of protein so that you don't get that sugar spike. And then, of course, when it drops, that's when you start craving more carbs and you realize, even with a small stomach, you can start really gaining the weight back if you're letting yourself eat the second your stomach is empty again. Say I had some cookies and an hour, hour and a half later, I'm not full anymore. My blood sugar has spiked from the straight up carbs and plummeted. That's going to tell my brain I'm hungry again. And by now my stomach's empty, I could eat more of them. And I could just keep doing that all day and I'm going to gain weight. And you don't want to fall into that. So when I weighed myself, I have been hovering around 140, 141 for the last few weeks. So over the last day or two, well, I guess 3 days, over the last 3 days, I've crept from 141 to today I was 142 and a half. And I was like, okay, you're not up at the danger zone of, you know, like 145, which would, you know, be like, get right back on nothing but protein shakes and yogurt, essentially. But it was like, you do need to start doing something because your weight's creeping up. And this is why, for me, it is very important that I weigh myself every day. It keeps me honest. And I looked around my bedroom, and, like, these are the things that were in my room. Now, granted, my kitchen is very full right now, so I was storing extra things. Both, like, I had stacks of some cases of protein shakes in my room. I have, like, some examples of those. But I used to only have healthy foods stored in my room. Like, I had a box of the Quest protein chips. These are the kind of snacks I need to keep in easy reach so that when I feel like munching on something, that something is low carb and not going to trigger that blood sugar spike and drop, which is going to have me hungry again in an hour. Plus, I'm getting my protein in. And I'm not getting the needless, unnecessary extra carbs. And these are probably my 2 favorite brands. I also like the Undri vanilla is my favorite of theirs. I don't have any on hand. The ones that you can buy, I can't find them ever in a store. I always order them online or buy them at my doctor's office. But these are the ones that you can buy at the store. Quest, 30 grams of protein for 160 calories. And whatever makes me think I'm going to get through a video without this. Put on the glasses. Okay. As far as carbs, it's 3 grams of carbs. So that's, a pretty negligible amount of carbs. Then Ensure Max Protein. If you're looking for low carbs, don't touch any of the other Ensure products except the Max Protein. A lot of them are full of carbs. Even Glucerna, which is made for diabetics, actually has more carbs in it than this does. So this is, again, 30 grams of protein. This one's 150 calories. And, okay, total carbs is 6, fiber is 2, so that would be 4 net carbs. So 4 carbs, 3 carbs. And again, that's pretty negligible amounts, especially when you're pairing it with 30 grams of protein. You're not going to get that blood sugar spike. And I'm looking at the monitor, and all I'm seeing is everything's out of focus because they're reading glasses, so when something isn't right in front of your face, it becomes blurry. But, like, yeah, normally these are the only kind of things that would be in my room for like, oh, I need a snack, I'm going to grab something, I'm going to be lazy and grab something. It would be like these, or it would be these, and you can see same brand, Quest, as one of the shakes. It's 140 calories for this bag of chips, and they are good. They definitely hit the spot when you're wanting like a salty snack. And I took the glasses off, and damn it, I have to put the glasses back on. Total carbs 5, fiber 1, so 4 grams of net carbs for a bag of chips. I mean, no regular snack chips are going to even come close to being that low in carbs. Plus, you get, how many grams of protein did I say? Maybe I didn't say. Did I not say? 18. 18 grams of protein. So, this is so much better an option than the cookies, these, which are like, you know, total like crack to me. These just cheapo peanut butter, you know, the bright orange ones, crackers, like I'll eat them, but then an hour and a half later, I'm hungry again. And again, it's that your blood sugar goes up, your blood sugar plummets, and that tells your brain to tell you that you need to eat. And I realized today when I went from that 141 and 142 and a quarter yesterday to 142 and a half today. I told you the last 3 days it's been creeping up. It was like, all right, get in your room, take inventory of what needs to be moved out. Because the leftover Halloween candy, the cookies, now anything with chocolate, I don't store on the extra shelves in my living room because my dog is often in the living room and I would never want him to accidentally find some way of getting to anything with chocolate. But I'm going to start storing it in the room across the hall from mine. Just having it out of sight, there definitely is an out of sight, out of mind component. And, you know, just making sure, like for a while, I was also like, you know, I have like the golden rule of don't drink your calories. It's water. It's actually grape flavored. It's, whose brand is it? I think it's Walmart's brand. They don't put artificial colors in it, so that's why it's not purple, but it is grape flavored. Haven't had a drink the whole time I've been talking. Shame on me. But yeah, for a while, I was letting myself drink Snapple Apple, which I love, but it's full of sugar. So I noticed, it was like, Denise, you've been maintaining so well for so long. Why are you suddenly having these problems and you're gaining? And again, I didn't even hit the top of my acceptable weight, which for me is between 140 and 145. But the fact that I've been sitting at 139, 140 for so long, and now I'm starting to creep, I knew I'd been doing something wrong. And that I think is what it is. I let myself start drinking calories, because I don't need to be drinking sugary drinks, which are just going to make me then start craving more sugar, which is going to make me start craving the junk food, which before it was easy enough to maybe once or twice a day add a small serving of something carby, but adding it to a meal, like having some pasta, having some bread, but having it with protein, which helps to sort of even out that blood sugar rise and fall so you don't crave something an hour after you ate. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because a lot of people, when they're maintaining, they get a little bit cocky. It's easy to be like, I got this. I've been maintaining for, you know, like I said, it's been over a year and a half since my surgery. And I hit maintenance fast in, I think, 5 months. I was at my maintenance weight. So for over a year I've been maintaining. And it's easy to get complacent and like I said, for me, weighing yourself every day is a big thing. At least for me it is. You're not going to know that you're gaining weight and that you need to address it if you're not weighing yourself. And I would much rather address it when I'm like, okay, I'm not even out of my range yet, that my acceptable range, I'm not even out of it yet. I'd rather address it now and get the habits that I've let sneak in, get them back out before it gets to that point. Whereas if I didn't weigh myself and avoided the scale, I could weigh myself and realize that I'd gained 10 pounds. And then you just feel like, oh my God, there's this whole, like, it's so hard and I have to lose 10 pounds. And like, why put yourself through that? You went through all this work to lose the weight, whether you're at maintenance or whether you're still on your journey to get to maintenance. You've put in so much work and you're continuing to put in the work every day. Yogurt and protein shakes are part of my everyday life, especially yogurt. I don't necessarily drink a protein shake every day, although I do probably make a smoothie on the days that I don't have one of them. Using that, like, sometimes I'll put protein powder in it, sometimes I'll just use a high protein yogurt with some almond milk and maybe half a frozen banana or some frozen strawberries. And then even sometimes I'll put a squirt of one of those sugar-free syrups that most people would put like in their coffee. I have like chocolate macadamia, salted caramel, different ones that I'll put into a smoothie to make it taste better. Or that I'll put into a plain high-protein yogurt to make it taste better. So I guess I just wanted to talk about it because it can be embarrassing. It can make you feel bad about yourself, especially if you feel like maybe you did let yourself get a little cocky, a little, like, oh, I got this thing. I've been maintaining for a year. I'm not going to be one of those people who gains the weight back. And you stop weighing yourself every day, and you stop paying attention to what you're eating. And you do like I've been doing, obviously, since Halloween, letting too much junk food hang around where you're grabbing that instead of grabbing the right things that you should be grabbing when you want something to eat. Or, grabbing one of these when you want something sweet and different to drink besides water or flavored water. Instead of going for the empty calorie, Snapple apple, which I love it, it's delicious, but let's face it, it's very sugary and it doesn't offer any other nutrition other than the sugar, really. Go for one of these. They come in a bunch of different flavors. I'm just showing you 2 examples here. Of course, they come in chocolate, they come in mocha, they come in vanilla. I just happen to have the mixed berry. Of the Ensure Max Protein, the mixed berry is my favorite. Quest, I like the salted caramel the best. Walmart does an Equate brand of caramel that I had that's really good. It tastes very similar, actually, to the Quest. And nutritionally, I think it's pretty much the same. So catch yourself if you're starting to do like I did and leaving things around, making it too easy to make the wrong choices. And, like I was catching myself putting butter on things. I haven't put butter on things in 2 years. For the months leading up to the surgery, I didn't touch butter. Why was I now suddenly saying, like, not only am I going to have a piece of bread, but I'm going to put butter on it? It's like, have you lost your mind? Like, that's not how you keep the weight off. So, don't beat yourself up, but do give yourself a little bit of a talking to. Like, you know what it took to get here, and I'm not going to sabotage myself. I'm not going to go back to those bad habits. And for me, I noticed, if you can't tell, it's the Halloween bucket. And yeah, I love the chocolate and stuff, but these are like a total weakness of mine. most, I know, like trick-or-treaters consider these the crap candy as opposed to the chocolate being the good candy. But it's those lollipops that the lollipop itself tastes almost like a green apple Jolly Rancher, but then it actually has a layer of caramel wrapped around the outside of it. So it's a caramel apple lollipop. I love these. Now the way I feel about these are, hey, if once a day, once every other day, you let yourself have one of these, is it a whole ton of calories? No, it's really not. But you need to balance it with having some protein. Maybe have a piece of cheese when you're eating it. Have something that's going to stop your blood sugar from peaking and plummeting, so that you don't then feel the urge to go grab something else. And like I said, I'll lose too much weight if I go back to the rigid, I'm only living on yogurt and protein shakes, because, yeah, like I said, I mastered losing weight. It was actually harder to master maintaining weight. And once you kind of find that meal pattern, that right amount at which you're not really gaining and you're not really losing, and it takes a while to find that, but once you find it, for me, weighing myself every day is a vital component of staying within my range. And I definitely suggest give yourself a 5-pound range. Otherwise, you'll make yourself nuts. If I was like, I must weigh exactly 141 pounds, well, just water retention, just, whether or not you've had a bowel movement in the last day or two, can make the difference of a pound. So if you're going to make yourself lose your mind over, I'm not at the exact 1 pound, weight that I said I must be at, you're almost going to trigger like eating disorder thinking, and you don't want that. So, like, personally, I give myself that 5-pound range, 140 to 145, and I want to stay in there. But when it's trending upwards slowly, you got to look at why. And before it even hits 146, I want it to be starting to head back down a little bit. So that's just kind of my checking in. Like I said, I haven't talked about this at length in a long time. I don't hide the fact that I've had weight loss surgery. In my other videos, I will sometimes just mention, oh yeah, I don't eat that, I had weight loss surgery. But I haven't really done one about my weight loss surgery or how my maintenance is going in a long time. So I wanted to share that. And in case any of you are struggling either post-Halloween or with the rest of the holidays where a lot of food is going to be around coming up, this is a good time to get your headset straight in terms of how you're going to approach having all of those kinds of foods around. 2020 being the year it is, maybe you're not having the large family gathering that you normally would. I know my family isn't. So Thanksgiving, we're not going to be having a big meal. Probably not for Christmas either. But if you are, just be aware, and if there's going to be a lot of leftovers or a lot of extra food bought and sitting in the house, just be aware. Don't let it creep up on you and creep up on the scale. Unless your doctor or psychologist or dietitian or someone has told you otherwise, I suggest weighing yourself every day or at least every other day. And it keeps you honest. Like I said, there's no lying with the number right in front of you on the scale. If it's going up, you need to change what you're doing to get back into, whether you're still in the losing phase or if you're maintaining, you need to keep maintaining and not start gaining. So I hope this is helpful to anybody else out there who is either, like I said, either still trying to get to your maintenance weight, you're still on your journey, or you're at maintenance and finding that now and then you struggle. And again, the holidays are a time that we can struggle with just too much food and the wrong kinds of food being around. So this bedroom is about to get cleared out with more of the right snacks being left conveniently where they will be when I want to grab something, and the other stuff put out of the way, so if I really want to have a piece of chocolate or a lollipop, I have to be mindful of the fact, like, okay, I'm making the conscious decision. I'm going to have a lollipop. It's going to be the only one I have today. Is this really when I want to have it? You know, make that mindful decision to have it. And then mindfully enjoy it while you're having it. Don't feel guilty while you're having it. You made the decision to have it. Enjoy it. So that doesn't trigger any sort of guilt eating cycle, because I think a lot of us have been there too. Doesn't help anything. So yeah, make the mindful decision. If you're going to have it, have it. Don't beat yourself up. And especially, like I said, if you're at maintenance where you do need to add in some calories, you need to add in some carbs. Now, not necessarily candy. It might be a serving of pasta or rice or potatoes. But make it a conscious decision and have it where you have to go and think about getting it and think about the fact that you're going to have it. So it's not just a mindless, oh, I'm just sitting here, you know, like somebody munching popcorn at a movie theater, eating stuff that I shouldn't be eating. So I just want to share that. I hope you're doing really well if you are on a weight loss journey. And if you're not, I hope it's given you some insight into how it can be for someone who has had weight loss surgery, so that you can be supportive. And please, like I said, don't be that jerk who says you took the easy way out, because there's nothing easy about this. And hopefully I have helped explain that, and you can see it a little bit more. It's not easy. It's a lifelong commitment to working at keeping your weight where it should be. And that's not taking the easy way out. So please, if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe. I would hope you've subscribed by now. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I have a new video up. Check out my other playlists. I do all kinds of stuff. And as always, I thank you for watching. I truly do appreciate it. And have a great day. Take care of yourself and be good to the people around you.